Hello everyone and welcome to Battle of the Beasts All Generation episode number 147. I'm Adam and today we've got the second battle of the quarterfinals. And one of these beasts which I'm holding in my hands right now, the books, not the actual beasts, God forbid, one of them is going to make it through to the next round. Who will that be? Well, this one, I do not know. I have little to no plan for this battle. And I have received a comment from Lucas on how I could do this battle. And yeah, I still don't know what to do for this one. So yeah, wish me luck, I guess. So yeah, let's introduce these beasts. Representing the now very small group of specials. One who has established himself to be a very dominating threat from the very start. One who is confident in his abilities, one that doesn't need the help of others or the powers of others to win. What the only one who has won all of his battles without absorbing or using his former opponents. And with that, the first beast fighting in this battle is Mortaxe, the Skeleton Warrior. Up against another special, one of the other two specials remaining, one that has gone against some fierce opponents before, but made the victories that they had almost seem like child's play. Almost like they had little to no struggle getting here. One which uses their opponent to help them in the next battle. Yes, he's lost some soldiers along the way, but he still has one servant by his side. And yes, I'm talking about Ferrok, the Iron Soldier. So, with this battle, we have the battle of two titans here, and quite frankly, I do not know who's gonna win. the I have no idea what I'm gonna do for this fight. I have no idea who Lucas is rooting for. I oh my gosh. Okay. Right, let's just get to the stats. So let's see if I can have some idea of what to do. So starting off with Mortaxe. Mortaxe resides in the Gallery of Tombs. In life, he was 3 times the height of a normal man, and the casket he lies in is one of the largest there. Although Mortaxe was once a brave warrior, he was turned to evil and held the power to control all the good beasts of Avantia. Age 358, power 280, magic level 180, fright factor 90, size 145. Powers and abilities: possible beast control, mind control, enhanced strength, enhanced durability, weapon mastery, equipment being a giant scythe and armor, and weaknesses is the exposed heart and heart removal. Up next, we have Ferrok the Iron Soldier. This giant is formed from molten iron and uses his sharp sword to magically draw flame into his body and increase his strength. The sword is not his only mode of attack. When Tom challenged the beast, Ferrok conjured a net of fiery ropes to keep him subdued. The battle was one of Tom's deadliest ever. Age 217, power 293, magic level 180, fright factor 94, size 151. Powers and abilities: fire manipulation. Ferrok can manipulate flames in several ways, like creating fireballs in the palm of his hand, forming it into a net, and adding it to his body to increase his power. Weapon mastery. Weapon summoning. He can summon his sword and into his hand, as well as a net. Transmutation. Ferrok can turn the flames in his body to metal, letting him create spikes on his body sharp enough to draw blood from Furno. Enhanced strength, enhanced durability, molten metal manipulation. Ferrok can launch molten steel, which, if it touches something's body, transforms into an Iron Warrior, Iron Legion. Borrowing and speech. Equipment: flaming sword and net of flames. Minions: the Iron Legion, or in this case it's just Griff. And weaknesses: inability to swim and Iron Warrior's reversion. When he's defeated, all the Iron Warriors revert back to their regular selves. So with that, we got two interesting beasts here, both of which I expected to make it this far. And to know that one of them is going to die, I have no idea who it's going to be. But if, let's say, Mortaxe wins, then that just shows how much of a threat he is in this tournament. But if Ferrok wins, bear in mind what he's done to his previous opponents. Imagine being a beast in the semi-finals and you fight both of these beasts. That's just a game set match, honestly. But obviously I will need to do something to not make the semi-finals not worth watching, because if Ferrok wins, it'll be obvious that he's going to win the whole tournament. But will there be a counter if he does? Well, we'll find out. But right now, I don't need to worry about that, because Mortaxe is fighting Ferrok and Griff. So with that, the battlefield, let's go to a city. Let's create the combat arena's battlefield to be like a city. It doesn't matter which city, because it's gonna get destroyed anyway. So with that, let's get into this. As the chamber doors open, Mortaxe makes his way out of the chamber, dragging his scythe along the floor, causing sparks to fly. Mortaxe makes his way to the center of the arena, across the uneven ground, lifts up his scythe, buries it into the ground, and just roars into the arena as he stares into the dark abyss on the other side. All he sees is a pair of glowing red eyes staring at him. And then he hears a voice coming from there saying, "You think you're the top dog. We may be in your home territory, but remember, I have help, and you have no one." Let's have my minion show you who's really in charge of things now. As Ferrok makes his way out of the arena to make himself seen, he then gestures his hand up to the roof of his chamber as a shining metal bird just shoots out of the sky exit and just stares down Mortaxe. As the metal-covered Griff shoots an ice beam directly towards Mortaxe, and Mortaxe lifts his arm as the ice just hits his arm directly head-on, and ice starts to form around his fist. Mortaxe looks at this and says, "Cute." He smashes his arm against a nearby rock or building, destroying the building but also shattering the ice. He then responds back to Ferrok saying, "That's cute. Now let me show you what I have." He lifts up his scythe again and throws it directly towards Griff as the scythe hits Griff, knocking the scythe back. As Mortaxe catches it, the spectators see the metal version of Griff falling back down to the ground. With a loud crash, Ferrok says to Iron Legion Griff, saying, "Is that all you got? You are going to get up here and we are going to win this fight. We can beat this gladiator." Mortaxe then says, I wouldn't do that if I were you. You know you're out of your league." Griff, was it? Oh, I don't know. Glyph, stay down. You know you're out of your league here. Do yourself a favor. Save yourself. I'll take care of your boss. Ferrok looks over to Griff and says, "Don't you dare back away. We are so close to winning this, and if we have him on our side, there's no stopping us now." Ferrok conjures up a fireball and chucks it towards Mortaxe. Mortaxe lifts up his scythe and slashes right through the fireball as the fireball explodes as soon as it contacts the scythe. Ferrok then chucks a fiery net towards Mortaxe. Mortaxe just lets it cover him. As it burns against his armor, doesn't seem to do anything. Mortaxe just lifts up his arm, pulls the net off, and chucks it onto the ground like it was nothing. Mortaxe then says, "Don't you guess it? Your fire is useless against me. I may not be a fiery beast myself, but I know how to deal with fire. Have you not noticed that I don't have anything to burn on me? I killed a beast literally made of fire last round. Or were you not watching that? You were too busy playing with a bird. Playing with a peacock, rather." At this point, Griff. I knew I was going to make that mess up. Okay, at this point, Griff gets back up from the rubble, takes up to the sky again, squawks in anger as he charges towards Mortaxe, flying, obviously, ready to lift up one of her wings, stab Mortaxe. Mortaxe is able to deflect it with his scythe and then grab onto Griff's chest, pulls her down to the ground, and then slams her down into the ground as well, and says, "You should have stayed down, and now you're gonna die. You're gonna die, not by the hands of me though. You're gonna die by the hands of your boss." As he looks up to Ferrok. Ferrok conjures up a fireball and chucks it towards Mortaxe, thinking that he was distracted. Mortaxe, knowing this would happen, lifts up Griff. God. Okay, I'm sorry, Griff. I can't even say your name right in this battle. Lifts up Griff as the fireball hits Griff directly on the back as Griff squawks in pain. He shoots a fireball. Griff shoots an ice beam directly towards Mortax's face, but Mortaxe doesn't allow that and just slams Griff's beak shut as ice starts shooting out, well, towards his mouth, but starts freezing Griff from the inside. Mortaxe, carrying on his way with scythe in one hand, Griff in another, just makes his way towards Ferrok as Ferrok is throwing fireballs continuously towards Mortaxe, as Mortaxe is using Griff as a meat shield at this point. Each time a fireball hits, Griff roars in pain. And then Mortaxe says, "Well, for someone who says that we're going to win, you seem to treat your minions very poorly. You know what? For a boss, I'm kind of disappointed." He chucks Griff down to the ground. "See, you treat your minions with so much disrespect. It's no wonder that they don't even want to work for you anymore. Look, you made him join you by force. I saw your fight. He killed your minions, and you've shown anger. And yet you still want him to work for you? And yet he can't even damage me. That's pathetic." Ferrok yells at Mortaxe, saying, "I can win without the help of my minions, and I am going to prove it to you right now." Mortaxe laughs and says, "Are you really? Well, what are you going to do?" Ferrok lifts up his sword and slices Griff's head clean off, and then brushes it aside and says, "There we go, 1-on-1. Let's go. Let's throw down." Mortaxe laughs and says, "A little bit of anger. I remember when Griff angered you. It was cute. So you are temperamental because you just killed your own minion, and now it's just you and me." Ferrok charges up towards Mortaxe, towering over him, but Mortaxe, not letting his guard down, steps aside as Ferrok slices his sword towards him, and Mortaxe swings his scythe and slices it into Ferrok's wrist. Ferrok roars in pain, but then starts laughing as he starts absorbing the metal from his scythe. Mortaxe takes the wooden part of the scythe before it can catch fire, snaps it in half with his knee, and says, "Right, let's go." Ferrok is laughing at this, saying, "You were so confident in your abilities just a minute ago, and now you just snapped your only weapon? Good luck, and I mean that genuinely, because I think you're going to make a good addition to my team." Mortaxe laughs and says, "Haha, you didn't say our team, you said your team. So therefore you are out for yourself. You don't plan to win by teamwork, you plan to win just by having other people do the dirty work for you." Ferrok charges up towards Mortaxe, enraged by this, lifting up his sword to slice down onto Mortaxe. Mortaxe dives aside as the sword digs itself into the ground. Ferrok pulls it out of the ground and chucks it towards Mortaxe. Mortaxe stays completely still, and as the sword actually misses Mortaxe and digs itself right into a wall right behind him. Mortaxe takes the sword out and says, "Thank you for the sword. Let's see how good it is." He charges up towards Ferrok and lifts up the sword and slices it right down onto Ferrok, slicing right through his metal armor. Ferrok roars in pain, and fire starts erupting from him as he feels that the fire that's inside of him is getting out, losing control rather. Mortaxe is realizing what's happening and he goes to slash at Ferrok again, this time slicing at the abdomen, as molten lava starts to spew out of him. Mortaxe takes a careful step back not to come across this lava, and he's trying to think of a way to how he can counter this beast. He goes to slice at Ferrok again, but Ferrok shouts, "Enough!" grabs the sword by the blade, and absorbs it into himself, making himself bigger, and causing the fire to grow brighter. Ferrok says, "Enough games. You will be mine." Mortaxe says, "Sorry, you're in my house now. I will never bow down to you." But then again, I'm sure you're used to hearing that. I'm pretty sure your previous battles with your opponents did also say that themselves as well. And you made them work for you unwillingly, and you killed one of them. For shame. Ferrok, enraged by this, charges up towards Mortaxe, tackles him down to the ground as Mortaxe lets him as they crash into a building and the rubble falls down onto them. Mortaxe is punching at Ferrok's head, trying to knock him aside. Ferrok's head is going from side to side. Mortaxe grabs onto Ferrok's horns and snaps them clean off, using the metal from the horns to stab them right into Ferrok's head. Ferrok roars in pain as he absorbs them, getting bigger. He lifts up his fist and punches Mortaxe straight into the ground. Mortaxe is able to recoil from that and says, "Is that really all you got? I've taken so many hits. Your hits mean nothing." Ferrok is getting more and more enraged over this as he continues punching at Mortaxe. Mortaxe just taunting him after each punch, saying, "I can take better hits from you, from Griff." Griff has hit me harder than that, and I couldn't even pronounce his name right. Mortaxe eventually gets bored and then does a very low blow move, might I add. He lifts up his leg and just using the spike on his kneecap, he knees Ferrok right between the legs, causing Ferrok to reel back in pain from that. As Mortaxe erupts from the rubble with Ferrok, Ferrok is stumbling back as Mortaxe charges up towards Ferrok and bashes his shoulder armor and his elbow armor right into Ferrok, knocking him back into a building, causing, this is quite a tall building, causing cracks to appear all over it. Mortaxe sees that and then charges up towards Ferrok again, lifting up his leg and just kicks Ferrok right into the building. As the building starts to topple down on top of Ferrok, Mortaxe takes a step back, seeing the rubble just collapse on top of him. As Ferrok erupts from the rubble, he starts limping his way out of the rubble and says, "You have put up such a great fight, and to have you on my side, for me to win this tournament will be glorious. You know what we can do together." Mortaxe just stares at this now very damaged Ferrok and says, "Yeah, I do know what we'll do together. But there's one thing that you didn't bank on." Ferrok responds back saying, "What's that?" "You may have the power of an army on your side, but any of these beasts left standing, I have their power on my side. Now let me show you the true power of a beast." He charges up towards Ferrok and then uppercuts him, knocking him back into the rubble. And then he gets on top of Ferrok, lifts up both his fists and smashes it down onto the iron head that is Ferrok, causing it to just shatter. As Mortaxe takes a step back, he sees the fire that shrouds Ferrok's entire body just fizzle out. Gradually over time, all that's left is just a puddle of lava which came out of him when Mortaxe slashed him. And with that is the end of this battle. Mortaxe is the winner. Ferrok is the loser. I am out of breath. If you think Ferrok should have won, please in the comments below. You think about how my words found on Mortaxe moving on to the next round. So, with this battle, this was a tough battle to narrate, to think about who's going to win. I could not actually think about who could win this fight, because I took every single ability into account. I used a battlefield which I think these beasts deserve to fight in. And whilst there may have been a little bit too much conversation between the beasts, honestly, I enjoyed it. So I'll take that. But as I established in the last battle Ferrok was in, he does have a bit of an anger, temper problem, let's say, which Mortaxe actually see in these fights because in the combat arena he sees all. He actually knows about Ferrok's anger problem and decides to exploit it, as well as using his own weapon against him when his got destroyed. So fair enough. Why didn't Ferrok absorb his armor? Well, Ferrok was buried under rubble when you need oxygen to ignite flame, so that's the problem why he didn't absorb it when he was on top of him. As for why he didn't absorb it when Mortaxe barreled into him, well, you try and absorb something when you're getting hit by a full power of something. And along with a couple other points, personally, the way in which I narrated it, Mortaxe was going to win. I see Mortaxe as more of a level-headed beast than Ferrok. Ferrok, I see as a more temperamental beast. Yes, cunning, but as I established in the previous battle, quick to anger. He eliminated his henchman, which, by the way, was the most useful of them all so far. Didn't do much, but which henchman did do much, really. But he killed the last henchman he had left, leaving it just him versus Mortaxe. Ferrok never actually earned his spot here. He just used the powers of the other beasts that he fought to get here. Yes, he defeated the other beasts, but he didn't kill them, no. He relied on them to help him. And when they got destroyed, he was left fighting against one of arguably the most powerful beasts. And of course, with an ability which was kind of shown in his book, Mortaxe is able to have the strength of the beasts which are left standing in the arena, in the combat arena, which they're fighting in. So obviously, there's already one fight of this round already done, and I'm not counting the strength of Ferrok, but Mortaxe had the strength of 6 other beasts on him with every hit that he did. So with that, and some of these beasts left standing are very strong. So I think it makes perfect sense that Mortaxe was able to shatter Ferrok's head. But with that, that is why Mortaxe won. And that is the end of another arc which I have made in this tournament. Ferrok the Iron Soldier is defeated, and with that, there are 2 specials left standing, and one of which is in the semi-finals. Not the first time Mortaxe has been in the semi-finals, but can he get further this time? Well, only time will tell. But with that, that's all for this time. If you like what you saw, leave a like, leave a comment, down, click subscribe, press the notification bell down in the corner below, and I'll see you next time.